ladies and gentlemen. And look, like I've been talking about, we've had a bunch of games during the week, and this week was no different because it was Thanksgiving. Let's go ahead and get into it. We had some Tuesday night football. There was only a couple games on Tuesday night, but there's one that we discussed a week ago. Ball State, Miami, both coming into this game with 5 wins, looking for that extra win to make them bowl eligible. And Miami of Ohio, they were able to pull it out, man. They were able to get it done.
And steal it right at the end. They scored with 1.5 minutes left, right around there. Tried to go for a 2-point conversion to get up by 3, and it failed. So they gave Ball State about 1.5 minutes to try and get down the field. Obviously, they didn't get it. This is a game we talked about, like you said, where both teams had everything on the line trying to get that bowl game. And now for Ball State, you just got to hope that there's not enough 6-6 teams that they start pulling some of these 5-7 teams, and you get your bowl game.
Exactly. And like you were mentioning, Avion Smith threw that late 34-yard TD pass to Mike Marshall to beat them. They had an opportunity. However, Ball State was not able to get it done in what is dubbed as the Red Bird rivalry. Never thought.
I did not know that.
I did not know that at all. So, all right. Learn something new every single day. But Miami of Ohio looks like they have made it into bowl eligibility. So we will see what happens in the coming weeks. Another team that has made it bowl eligible a week ago was Bowling Green, but they were unsuccessful in this one. And look, they came up against a buzzsaw. Ohio is won 7 of their last 7 games in a row after starting off 2-3. They're now 9-3. And to be honest with you, new quarterback, the starter, Rourke was out, so they had the backup in Harris. He accounted for 4 TDs. He had 3 rushing and a passing. Different quarterback. This is next man up. This is what we always talk about, what we would like to happen. Now, Boise State has been struggling this year, but they have 6 victories, and they are bowl eligible. But Ohio was just a buzzsaw today, or yesterday.
Yeah. This next man up mentality is what separates good teams from bad teams.
Yep.
Ohio coming in, like you said, they'd won 6 in a row going into this game without Rourke, their star quarterback. And for this guy to come in and just take over and handle business, just nothing you can say but congrats to that guy.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Ohio's running back, we talked about him a week ago, Bangura, had almost 4 yards short of 100 yards. So that definitely helps. But then, also the quarterback, McDonald for Bowling Green, threw 3 interceptions in this game. So, you can't win games doing that, especially against a stellar team like Ohio. So shout out to Ohio. We'll see. I believe this places them in the MAC championship game.
I believe so. Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. I have to go back.
Yeah. So Ohio will play either Toledo or Eastern Michigan.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that. I like that a lot.
Toledo 7-5. Eastern Michigan's 8-4. So that's a good game.
Oh yeah. Here we go. Shelby said, I just want to say Johnny Manziel is probably the best college football QB ever.
No. He won the Heisman off of beating Alabama that year.
Look, we hadn't seen anything like him before. He was pretty amazing when he played, but like you said, that one game shows how much it can propel players. I mean, we saw what it did to Hendon Hooker. Not saying he wasn't on that level, but it definitely gave him that extra boost to put him in the top 2 at one point before the injury. So
and I would take Hendon Hooker over Johnny Manziel.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
So, and I don't put Hendon Hooker anywhere near the top college quarterbacks of all time. So
yeah. Oh yeah. Arguable, yes, but personal opinion. Hey, I understand. Yeah. And look, if you take away all of the extra stuff, all of the this, all of the, doing all that stuff on the sideline, if you take all that stuff away and just put him talent for talent, it's hard to find a quarterback or even a player that had the impact that he had, especially his Heisman season. So I'll definitely give you that. He is like by far up there in that conversation. But of all time, that's a stretch. But hey, it is your opinion. It is your opinion. I am here looking to be provoked. What, you guys play Rutgers today? If you lose to that one, but we lost too, so no, I'm not tripping off that. Look, we got to move on. Thanksgiving was Thursday, and there was only one game on Thursday. The NFL has that day pretty dominated with the football. The Egg Bowl, ladies and gentlemen, Mississippi State getting the W, even though they almost tried to give it away a couple times. They got the W against Ole Miss, 24-20. Ole Miss is ranked 20th. They have been falling. They've lost.
Yeah, this is 3 in a row.
Yeah, and it's frustrating because I was definitely one of the people when they beat Kentucky. I said, Jackson Dart, watch out for this running game. These guys can really do something. But then I realized if you stop Jackson Dart, it's kind of suspect all the way around. So talk to me about this one because, Mississippi State has been struggling as well. I have always been telling their Will Rogers and Leach and that air raid offense. But, they were trying to give it away in this one. Talk to me about this.
Yeah, well, the trying to give it away was right where I was going because Ole Miss scored with a minute 25 left. Went for 2 and almost tied the game.
Yeah.
I disagree with going for a shovel pass at the 2-yard line, personally. But that's why I'm not a head coach, I guess. That's why he's a head coach. He's making those decisions. But, I mean, it's a good competitive game. That's what you want to see with this week is good games all across the board because these are those big-time rivalries.
Yeah.
But, yeah, Ole Miss – I mean, they're kind of in a slump here. We'll see what happens with their bowl game and who they play, but they got to right the ship here. You got one more game.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And Mississippi State also, 8-4. So, hey, shout out to them. It was a hard-fought game, like you said, came down to the wire. This is one of those games that doesn't get as much attention, unless you're in the SEC or unless you are from that area, but it's one of those hard-fought rivalries and one of the better rivalries in all of college football. So
they play each other tough all the time.
Absolutely. You can throw the records out. Mississippi State's basketball program is looking decent as well. Okay, cool. Yeah, absolutely. So this was the only game for the Thursday night slate, but there was a number of Friday night games. We're going to hit a couple, but definitely want to bring out the one that meant something to me. My guys, UNC losing to NC State 30-27 on a missed field goal in double overtime. This game came down to the wire. In fact, we were tied at one point. We throw an interception. Drake May throws the interception. They drive down on a beautiful back shoulder pass from Finley to I gotta look
Devin
up
Carter, I believe.
Devin Carter, their best wide receiver, catches it, pulls into the end zone, and I'm sitting here like, oh, here we go again. But this is those moments that you say, Drake May, if you are as advertised, lead us down the field. And he did exactly that. Led us, drove right down the field, had several opportunities to win it, and also had some opportunities to lose it. We ran, I think it was a off-tackle play and a toss play, both at the goal line, and got snuffed. The plays got snuffed out, and I'm just like, Coach, no, we got them in the passing game. When we get spread out in the run, especially in the red zone, it's more difficult for us to run the ball. So that frustrated me. We ended up getting the touchdown to tie it, take it to OT,
go to zeros.
Right. And it was challenged. Every TD is challenged, but it was reviewed, looked at, and even the announcers were like, I don't think he caught that. And I that's where I was kind of like, okay. But then we go into overtime, get through the first overtime, only to lose on a missed field goal in double overtime. Look, like I said in the pep talk, this was one of the games, this one as well as last week against Georgia Tech. These were the two games that I was really worried about because you've been doing so well. The Heisman hype and all those people start coming in and talking to Drake May, talking to the coaches. Look how good North Carolina's done, yada, yada, yada. And then you just saw that head growing. And it's just like, ugh. we're just set up to fall. We're set up to fall in one of these type of games. So, hey, shout out to NC State. This was a huge game for them. Definitely a huge one for us that we ended up not getting, but still are in the ACC championship game. So we shall see what happens going on down the line. What does this mean for UNC, though? 2 losses in the last 3 weeks. Ugh.
It means if you're an ACC fan, Clemson's got to win that to get a chance at the playoff.
Yeah.
But I mean, I still think North Carolina is going to win that game. I still do. I have zero faith in Clemson. I think it's going to be a very good game. It's going to really affect the bowl game, though, for North Carolina.
Yeah.
Because if they win that, obviously you'll be in a New Year's Six bowl, probably playing someone like Alabama, LSU, that whichever wild card they pick from the SEC. And I believe it's the Sugar Bowl that you guys would be playing.
I think so.
But then if you lose that game and you're sitting there at 9-4, then it drastically changes versus 10-3, where you'll be for that bowl game.
Oh yeah. So we shall see. Like I said a couple weeks ago, everything was right in front of us. Unfortunately, we were unsuccessful and in a double negative yesterday. Not only did we lose in this game, North Carolina basketball, who was ranked number 1 in the country, loses to a, albeit solid, Iowa State team that shot the lights out. Shout out to their guard, Grill. This dude just shot the lights out against us.
Yeah, we could not miss.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you have that, you can't do anything about it. I mean, kudos to them for getting the W in the PK, the Phil Knight tournament that they had going on. So yeah, shout out to them, the Sweet and Low Bowl. Hey, anything is better than the Duke's Mayo Bowl a year ago, where the winning coach gets the mayo dumped on him.
Or the Idaho Potato Bowl.
Right.
Some of these names, man.
They are ridiculous. And ladies and gentlemen, we're definitely going to get into it once bowl season comes and just kind of break down some of the random names, the Humanitarian Bowl and all this. Definitely got to get into it. But look, there were so many other games. There's a lot of games out there on Friday night. What are some of the games that you paid attention to?
So for me, the big one I looked at was Baylor, Texas.
Yeah.
Because we'll talk about the other side of this in a little bit, but Texas still has a chance to get into the Big 12 championship game.
Oh, yeah.
So they had to win to have a shot still against a Baylor team that's underperformed, but is still a very good team.
Right.
Plays guys week in and week out. Very tough. And then there's one more for me, Tulane and Cincinnati. Tulane had lost 77 games in a row against AP top 25 teams. It's the longest streak in the history of the AP poll.
Wow.
They finally broke that streak. It was 1984, I believe, the last time they won a game against a top 25 team.
Yo, shout out to Tulane, and to do it against Cincinnati, who, as we know, a year ago was in the Final Four.
In Cincinnati, too.
Yeah. And this is one of the games I was watching early, and it was slow to start. But you can tell, I mean, whatever Tulane's got going on this year, I mean, they really are charged and ready to go. They've been playing, together, and they just looked like they were the better team in this one. Yeah. They looked like they were more comfortable in this game. So,
well, if you look at it, we were talking about that group of 5 team getting that New Year's 6 bid. The best one always does.
No.
And Tulane's right there right now. They're the highest ranked team at 10-2.
Oh, yeah.
So they might be in one of those New Year's 6 bowls.
Hey, let's see. But more importantly, let's hope that they can continue this momentum and actually challenge one of the team that they're going to play, because and we'll discuss that at a later time. But that's something that, the transfer portal, the NIL, some of that stuff is kind of evening the playing field. Yeah. But I can't stand when one of these teams goes and plays these big name schools and they get ran out of the building. You know what I mean? Let's Tulane, hopefully they got a little something. Cincinnati wasn't successful, but I think they were more successful in that game against Alabama than the score would indicate.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
it got out of hand late, that one.
Yeah, it did. It did. So we shall definitely see. But yeah, I mean, along with that, I mean, yeah, definitely Baylor, Texas. I was watching Tulane, Cincinnati. One of the games that actually Nathan was talking about, Arizona State, Arizona. Wow, Arizona pulling out the upset over at Arizona. Well, I don't even know if it's upset because Arizona State hasn't been terribly great this year.
I would say Arizona should have won that game.
Yeah, yeah. So Arizona got the W, and obviously this is another rival game. It definitely got testy at certain parts, and especially at the end, where there's a little scuffle that broke out. But shout out to Arizona. I mean, they're 5-7, one game out of being bowl eligible. But like you said, if some of these 6 and 6s aren't paying attention, or maybe a lot of getting into a bowl is your record, but another part of it is bolsters really want to see who is going to bring in a crowd, who is going to be a good game to watch. They don't want to see a team that barely squeaked in at 6 and 6, but is terrible. You know what I mean? That maybe lost 5 out of their last 6. They want to see a team that's on the rise and that's moving up. So who knows, man? This is a big win for Arizona. Putting up 30, putting up 38 is not something that they're used to. But I mean, hey, in-house rivalry, in-state rivalry. Shout out to the Wildcats, man. Let's go.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, buddy.
We got that other night game last night, Florida State.
And what a game that was.
That was such a good game, man.
I was on the show, and shout out to Foobs, Andrew Faubert. We were on his show last night in SD. And I know I was watching it. No, you guys were watching it. We're all kind of looking over the side like, Florida State scored again. Florida scored again. I mean,
man, look, so back and forth. Like
that was the crazy part. And it was at one point it was 38-24. But I never had that feeling that it was over. Like I was kind of like, okay, Richardson, what you got? What you got? And when he brought them back and tied it, I was like, oh, here we go. But in Florida State ended up pulling it out late. And shout out to Norvell. Mike Norvell. One of the things I heard last night was that everywhere he goes, his offense averaged 30 points a game. He That's does impressive. Something right. Yeah. Especially for Florida State kind of putting them back on the map. I love that.
Well, and people were calling for his head at the beginning of this year, like going in, like if we lose like 3-4 early, he should be gone.
Yeah.
You're 9-3.
Yeah.
A very successful season. Like I was one of those people that was like, okay, this might be the last year. And then you see maybe Dion can be the next head coach. Like I was ready for him to go too.
Oh yeah.
But way to just block out the noise, focus on your job, and be very successful at it.
Absolutely.
Very good season for Florida State.
Oh yeah. And look, and you go back to that first week that they get the victory over LSU off the mixed extra point, or the blocked extra point. But that you look now at that game and it's like, do you see how high LSU is? That's why I asked the question a week ago what will it take for Florida to get up there, or Florida State to get up there? Obviously, they're too far down there, especially with the 3 losses. But beating an LSU, that game just looks better and better and better because Florida State's offense is coming correct, man.
Well, I mean, if you look at college football, you've got Florida State, who's at 16. They won.
Mm-hmm.
Notre Dame, USC play. Michigan, Ohio State play. Kansas State plays a tough game. Oregon plays a tough game. Utah plays a tough game. Like, there's a lot of teams right above them.
Yeah.
That have the chance to fall below them.
Yeah.
So FSU could push maybe top 10 here. Realistically. I don't think they'll hit the top 10, but fall just outside it.
And so, you know what, man? And the one thing I think this does do, and it's something that has not been there for a while, it brings back that credibility to Florida State. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, some of us, we remember the 2000 when, Peter Warwick and how dominant that team was with under Coach Bowden. Then, obviously, Jameis Winston had his year where they won the national championship, and that was solid. But, I mean, I think we could both agree they've fallen off these last couple years. And to have them back and have a 10-win season, are getting up to that, or potentially getting a 10-win season. Yeah. And getting a solid bowl game, playing high-quality matchups late in the year, and then getting a victory over Florida, which they haven't been able to do for a while.
Think of what that does for recruiting.
Right.
That is huge for recruiting, especially beating Florida. Beating these in-state teams is huge.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these, like, for example, Michigan, Ohio State, there's a lot of recruits that watch that game that are being recruited heavily by both teams.
Exactly.
That can make or break a person's recruiting. Like, that's huge for FSU.
And
I agree. I think they'll just miss the New Year's Six game, but they'll still get a very good bowl.
Absolutely. But I mean, it says something. And like you alluded to earlier, we had Norvell on our hot seat in the beginning of this season. You know, we had him out there as somebody that could potentially go. So to have the turnaround that he had, and then to your point about him winning the games in state, gets the win over Florida. They destroyed Miami 45-3. So the fact that they put up 45 in multiple games, I mean, they've put up 44 against Boston College. This offense led by Travis is playing, I mean, legit and at the right time. The right time. So obviously they'll need some help, but yeah, we shall definitely see where they fall. One of the other ones I wanted to talk about really quickly, Nebraska getting the W over Iowa. This is another team that lost their coach earlier in the year. They lost Scott Frost
and just found a new one.
Exactly. And that's why I wanted to bring this up. How much does and for those of you that don't know, Matt Rule has decided to take the Nebraska coaching job in the coming future. How much does that news impact what's been going on? And I mean, this is a big win over Iowa.
Yeah, and it sucks for the interim head coach because he's turned this around and done very well.
Yeah.
So it sucks to see him probably go, I would assume. I don't think he'll stick around and be a defensive coordinator again. But it's huge in terms of recruiting to find your coach this early and somebody that's got the college resume of a Matt Rule.
Yep.
Because Matt Rule going to Nebraska as a Michigan fan scares the hell out of me, honestly. Because he's quickly turned around Temple, he quickly turned around Baylor and been very successful at both.
Right.
So you get him at a school that has the history of Nebraska. That's dangerous. Very dangerous.
Absolutely. And look, we will see. And this will also answer the question if he's primarily a college coach. I mean, we've seen what he did in the league, and you know, to his credit, the Panthers were a struggling organization. They had a lot. I know they had certain pieces that were solid, but they don't have a quarterback. They've been trying to figure out who's going to put in that spot. They have a solid defense, but injuries, O-line, you know, not having a sustainable running back. There's a lot of things that really kind of weighted down. And they gave him full control, which in the NFL, full control is a lot different than in college. So let's see if he's able to bring back Nebraska, like you talked about them being a storied franchise. Let's see if he'll bring it back to prominence. Let's see if he'll do that.
I fully expect him to. I think like 2-3 years they're back.
Oof. I can't wait to see it. Now look, there's a lot of other games, and you know, you guys should definitely take a look and recap some of these because the action was absolutely out of this world.
Thanks for watching. If you like that clip, be sure to check out the other great content from the Let's Talk Football community. And as always, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you'll be notified when more great content like this becomes available.